Hey guys, so welcome to part 2 of my BSOD experiences video. So I'm pretty sure that I only did 2 last time. So this is yet another year or two later. I think it was like 2011. So my cousin, I'm not naming her, but one of my cousins gave me her older netbook because she'd gotten a new laptop that happened to be running Windows 7. So I gladly took it and we reset it to its older operating system, which happened to be Windows XP. So I happened to hate Windows XP at the time, but I went along with it. So nothing that major happened until, well, I think it was like the anniversary of 9/11 when we'd made a huge mistake. And by weed, I mean, no, not the smoking weed. I meant we had. We had made a mistake. Like, we happened to keep the netbook right next to a recliner that we had in the living room. We always had it plugged into the wall, and so what about that? Well, sometime during, like, we were at home, and it was either 9/11 or Remembrance Day, I don't know. All I know is that it was like a remembering holiday. The netbook had gone too far underneath the. It had gone too far underneath the recliner. The case was closed, and whoever was sitting in the chair at the time had decided to rock backwards, and we smashed the screen through the, we'd smashed the screen through the cover. We'd broken a bunch of pixels. Thought that it was okay, but when we turned it on, we realized that the screen was completely messed up, and it was broken all over the place. So I wasn't very happy about that. So that's not the least of our problems. I happened to have an old computer monitor in my room, so we all agreed to take the computer up to my room, which is where I happen to be recording right now. Well, we plugged it into the monitor, and it worked okay for the first, like, a month or two. There seems to be a big pattern with a few months. Anyway. So it worked for a month or two, if not a year. When all of a sudden, it froze, and I'm just like, it's a regular freezing. Nothing's gonna happen. So I turned it off, and following what my what my dad had told me, which was after a shutdown failure, the best option is to let it scan the hard drive for any errors. So I went along with that. I let it scan and check for errors, and I should have skipped it. Do you know why? Somehow it's looking for hard drive errors, ended up crashing the poor thing. It ended up bringing up a blue screen when it was almost complete. It brought up freaking blue screens. And in fact, one of my friends was over at the time when it crashed. So I decided to, once it came up, I realized that it said something. It had a file name of what could be causing the problem. So I decided to let it scan and bring up blue screens, and I figured out that it was a certain file. However, I do not own the netbook anymore, just like the computers that I happened to mention before. We only have 3 computers now, 2 of which are laptops, and one is my Windows 8.1 that I happen to use for recording my gaming videos. But that's a big PC. Anyway, so I forget what the file was called, but it did tell me what it was called, but I wasn't able to fix it because it couldn't boot up into safe mode. It would hang on a certain driver, and it wouldn't let me do anything. The only thing that I could do at that point was just turn it off and forget about it. So we ended up installing Ubuntu on it. I think it was Ubuntu 8.0.2 or something. I forget what it is. I'll probably correct myself later. I'm pretty sure that we have a disk or something, and we also had a USB with the operating system on it. I'm pretty sure we have a disk. Anyway, so that's the first PC I wanted to mention. Next, we have I don't quite remember if we had any more, but I'm going to go ahead, and I don't know if I mentioned this one before, because I have the worst memory. I think I have short-term memory. And by short-term, I mean literally short-term. I forget everything after 5 minutes of doing it. Anyway, so what ended up happening? What ended up happening was, I forget what year this was. I think it was 2012 or something. So we'd gotten this Windows Vista computer from a couple that was moving to Paris. They didn't want to keep the computer, so they gave it to us. We gladly accepted it, and we set it up in the living room. And so it worked for the next month. And by far, this was the worst crash that I've ever seen. I mean, this thing would crash repeatedly. It would crash every minute to 3 minutes. Now, thanks to another YouTuber who I absolutely love his videos. They are amazing. I freaking love them. His name is Uxwbill. Go check them out. Anyway, so thanks to his help, he figured out what was going on. I described what was going on, which was repeated blue screens, and even if we reinstalled the operating system, it would still bring up blue screens. Whatever we did, blue screens. We even tried going back to an earlier version of, an earlier save of the operating system. Still brought up blue screens. No matter what we tried, it gave us blue screens. Thanks to Uxwbill, he said that it was most likely a hardware failure. Now, if I'd known that before, we could have probably saved it, but we ended up throwing that computer away, or giving it away. Yeah. So, that's about all that I have of computer blue screen stories. I hope that those people who happened to understand this enjoyed. So, as I mentioned in the video, go and check out Uxwbill's videos, please. Thanks for watching mine. I love you guys like crazy, and bye-bye.